when you were in a submarine inside the sea, it was like being in space?
I think, people often use the space analogy. Of course, I've never been to space. I can't say that it would be like it exactly, but certainly from the standpoint of the fact that once you've adjusted your buoyancy and so on, you're floating, you're neutrally buoyant. That's the condition that you often try to get to as a diver. And I suppose that does make it very much like being in space. In fact, astronauts train in pools and swimming pools to try to simulate zero gravity. And being in a sub, that's neutrally buoyant in the ocean, I suppose probably is very similar to being in space. Of course, there's also a huge difference, and it's an important one to point out at this moment, which is that in space, you deal with the absence of one atmosphere because you're in a vacuum. The bottom of the ocean, we're dealing with 1,100 atmospheres. The pressures that are being exerted on the structure that we're in are immense. You're talking about 16,000 psi or about 1,100 bar, a tremendous amount of pressure. And in some ways, that makes being in the deep sea more complicated than being in space in terms of the structural design of the things that you bring into the deep sea.